Alright, looking at adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So it's going to be very similar to adding and subtracting fractions. You're going to need a common denominator. But then with the whole numbers, you're just going to either add or subtract those. So let's go ahead and look at the first one, 2 3/4 plus 4 3/4. So first we see that the fractions have a common denominator of 4. So that tells us we can add the whole numbers, and then we can just add the numerators of the fractions. So first step, they already have a common denominator. So now we can move on to the second one, add the whole numbers. 2 plus 4 equals 6. And then add the fractions. 3/4 plus 3/4 is going to give us 6/4. Okay, so now this is an improper fraction, so we're going to convert it to a proper fraction. To a mixed number. So once again, we do that by putting 6 under the bracket, 4 in front, and then 4 can go into 6 once. And then when you subtract, you get a remainder of 2. So that would give us 1 2/4, or 1 1/2. And so now we take our whole number 6 plus 1 1/2, and that's going to equal 6, not 6, that's going to equal 7, equals 7 1/2. And so that's what you're doing when you're adding mixed numbers. So if you get an improper fraction, this last part right here that says convert to a mixed number and add. So when you have just the whole number separated, you're just going to add that whole number to the other whole numbers and then keep the fraction. So you added 1 to 6 and you kept the 1/2 to get 7 1/2. Okay, and one other thing we can do just from the top, looking at, okay, 2 plus 6, that's going to be 6, right? And then you have two fractions. Even if those fractions were a whole, then the most we would get there would be 8. So off the bat, we should just note that our answer should be somewhere in between 6 and 8. And 7 1/2 fits right in between 6 and 8. Okay, so next one, 4 1/4 plus 3 2/3. So just thinking about this with estimate about where it should roughly be, 4 plus 3 is 7. So it should be a little more than 7 and no more than 9. Because 4 plus 3 is 7. These aren't whole numbers, but if they were, that would give us 2 more. And so at most it would be 9. So our answer should be somewhere in that range. So once again, we can look at the fractions. They have different denominators, so we got to find a common denominator. So the least common multiple of 4 and 3 is going to be 12. So I'm going to separate the whole numbers over here. I'll take 1 over 4, and I'm going to times that by 3 over 3 plus 2/3 times 4 over 4. So the reason I'm multiplying 1/4 by 3 over 3 is because 4 times 3 gives us 12. And so that's going to be our least common multiple. So we got to convert those so that those fractions are now share the same denominator. So this would give us 3/12 plus 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, 4 plus 3 equals 7, so this is going to be 7 plus the sum of these fractions. And 3 plus 8 is going to give us not 12, but 11. 11/12. So now we go 7 plus 11/12 is going to equal 7 11/12. We can check to see if it can be simplified, but 11 and 12, there is no greatest common factor. So this is in simplest form. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. So now we have 6 1/8 minus 2 3/4. So once again, looking at this, 6 minus 2 is going to give us 4. So 4 at the most is because 1/8 is less than 3/4. So it shouldn't be greater than 4. And it shouldn't be less than, if this was 6 minus 3, that would give us 6 minus 3 would give us 3. So it should be between 3 and 4. So we've got 6 minus 2. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then we've got 1/8 minus 3/4. Okay, so we need a common denominator, and 4 times 2 gives us 8. So we'll just multiply this one, 3/4 by 2 over 2. And that will give us 1/8 minus 6/8. And so now if you have 1/8 minus 6/8, you get a negative 5/8. Okay, so now you have 6 minus 2, which gives us 4, and then 4 minus 5/8. So when you get here, if this is confusing, what we can do is go not 4, but we can split this 4 up into 3 and then 8 over 8. Right, 8 over 8 is 1, 1 plus 3 is 4. And now we're going to subtract 5/8 from our 8 over 8. And this will leave us with 3 plus 8 minus 5 is going to give us 3/8. So there are fractions. 8/8 minus 5/8 leaves us with 3/8. And so when we add those together, you get 3 and 3/8. So that's just so we don't combine 4 and make it a negative 4 and 5/8. You have 4, but you're subtracting 5/8 from it. And so it's easiest to just set it up as 3 plus 8 over 8. So now you can just subtract the numerators of 8 and 5. Okay, and last example. So now we have a negative minus a negative. So once again, if it's a negative minus, sorry, it's not a negative minus a negative, but a negative minus 4 and 1/6. So same sign. So what we're going to do is keep the sign for our answer and then just add the fractions. So 3 plus 4. Actually, that might get confusing. Okay, 3 plus 4. And then we've got plus 2/5 plus 1/6. Okay, and we're going to make that all negative. So we need to find our least common multiple of 5 and 6. So 5 times 6 is going to give us our least common multiple of 30. So we're going to multiply 2/5 by 6 over 6. And we're going to multiply 1/6 over 5 over 5. 5 times 6 will give us 30. And 6 times 5 will give us 30. So we'll have a common denominator. So now we can take 2 times 6, which gives us 12 over 30. And 1 times 5, which gives us 5 over 30. And then we have 3 plus 4, which equals 7. So now we can just add our fractions. So add the numerators because we have the common denominator. That is going to equal 7 plus 12 plus 5 is going to give us 17 over 30. So then we can just combine 7 and 17/30. Oops. And that is going to be negative. Oops. It's going to be negative from that negative sign, so make sure we put that there. And there you have negative 7 and 17/30. And that's how you solve or add and subtract mixed numbers.